Welcome to The Truth Seekers, a team of intrepid explorers on a quest to uncover the hidden truths that lie beyond the veil of mystery. Join us on an extraordinary journey as we venture into the depths of the unknown, investigating unsolved cases, paranormal phenomena, and enigmatic puzzles. Get ready to embark on an unforgettable adventure with The Truth Seekers, where every secret unveiled brings us one step closer to unraveling the mysteries that shape our world. Greetings, fellow Truth Seekers. In this episode, we delve into the captivating world of UFO and alien encounters Part 2. The Bonilla observation is a famous UFO sighting that occurred in 1883. The astronomer Jose Bonilla was observing sunspot activity at the Zacatecas Observatory in Mexico when he saw over 400 dark, unidentified objects crossing the sun. The mystery airship sightings that occurred in the United States from November 17, 1896 to April 23, 1897. The sightings were reported by people in different parts of the country, including California, Texas, and Colorado. The witnesses described seeing a variety of different objects, including cigar-shaped airships, disc-shaped airships, and airships with flapping wings. The objects were said to be moving silently and quickly. Aurora, Texas UFO incident that was reported on April 17, 1897. The incident was reported by local correspondent S.E. Hayden, who claimed that a cigar-shaped airship had crashed near the town of Aurora. Hayden also claimed that the pilot of the airship was an alien who was buried in the local cemetery. The Aurora, Texas UFO incident is one of the most famous UFO sightings in history. Michael Gramino UFO sighting that was reported in 1907. The sighting was reported by Michael Gramino, a distinguished Albanian journalist, writer, and activist. Gramino wrote in his book The Albanian Uprising that, one night, while the fighters of Circeis were stationed at the top of a high mountain, a shiny object flew in front of us, stood suspended in the air for several minutes, and then disappeared. The Battle of Los Angeles, which is a mass UFO sighting that took place in Los Angeles, California, on February 24, 1942. The sighting occurred just months after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, and it caused a great deal of fear and panic in the city. The Battle of Los Angeles began when U.S. radar stations picked up an unidentified aerial object, UAO, in the sky. The object was tracked by radar for several hours, and it was eventually seen by thousands of people. Anti-aircraft artillery was fired at the object, but it was not hit. The object eventually disappeared from radar, and its identity remains a mystery. June 24, 1947. Kenneth Arnold, a civilian pilot, witnessed something extraordinary that would change history. 9 strange objects in perfect formation, moving at an incredible speed of 1,700 miles per hour. Arnold's description coined the term flying saucer, sparking a worldwide fascination. Kenneth Arnold, they flew like saucers skipping across water, metallic and reflective. The military denied any tests, leaving questions unanswered. Kenneth Arnold's sighting marked the beginning of a UFO era, captivating our curiosity for decades. The Roswell incident is one of the most famous and controversial UFO cases in history. The incident took place in July 1947 when rancher W.W. Mac Brazel found debris scattered across his property near Roswell, New Mexico. Brazel took the debris to the local sheriff, who in turn contacted the Roswell Army Airfield, RAAF. The RAAF initially issued a press release stating that they had recovered a flying disc. However, the release was quickly retracted and the military claimed that the debris was actually from a weather balloon. The incident sparked a wave of media attention and public interest, and many people believed that the military was covering up the truth about the crash of an alien spacecraft. Conspiracy theories about the Roswell incident have persisted to this day, and the incident has become a cultural phenomenon. The incident remained largely forgotten until 1978 when retired Lieutenant Colonel Jesse Marcel was interviewed by ufologist Stanton Friedman. Marcel revealed that the weather balloon story was a cover-up to divert attention. Based on this revelation, Marcel speculated that the debris might have been of extraterrestrial origin. Marcel's interview led to complex conspiracy theories surrounding alien spacecraft recovery and military cover-ups, propagated by ufologists. In 1979, more than 3 decades after Roswell, some conspiracy theorists began claiming that the military had recovered extraterrestrial occupants. However, a second report by the USAF in 1997 dismissed these claims, finding them baseless, fabricated, or influenced by parachute dummies. In 1994, the United States Air Force released a report stating that the crashed object was actually a top-secret nuclear test surveillance balloon from Project Mogul. The report concluded that there was no evidence to support the claims of alien visitation. McMinnville UFO photographs, which were taken by Paul Trent and his wife Evelyn on May 11, 1950. The photographs show a disc-shaped object in the sky above their farm near McMinnville, Oregon. The Trent's photographs were widely published in newspapers and magazines, and they were considered to be some of the most convincing evidence of UFOs ever captured. Flatwoods Monster, which is a legendary creature that is said to have been seen in Flatwoods, West Virginia on September 12, 1952. The creature was reportedly seen by 5 people, including 3 children and 2 adults. The witnesses described it as being about 10 feet tall, with a green or red body, large eyes, and a head that resembled the ace of spades. The creature was also said to have emitted a foul odor. The Flatwoods Monster sighting was widely reported in the media, and it quickly became one of the most famous UFO cases in history. Fiorentina Stadium mass sighting, which took place on October 27, 1954, during a football match between Fiorentina and Pistoiese at the Stadio Artemio Franchi in Florence, Italy. The stadium was full of spectators when a group of UFOs suddenly appeared in the sky. The UFOs were described as being cigar-shaped and they were moving very fast. The stadium fell silent as the spectators watched the UFOs. The UFOs eventually disappeared, but the incident left a lasting impression on the spectators. Many of them still believe that they saw real UFOs that day. The Fiorentina Stadium mass sighting is one of the most well-documented UFO sightings in history. There were many witnesses, including journalists and photographers. The incident was also reported in the media, both in Italy and around the world. Lakenheath Bentwaters incident, which took place on July 24, 1956, in Suffolk, England. The incident involved multiple witnesses, including United States Air Force, USAF, and Royal Air Force, RAF, radar operators, as well as an RAF pilot. The incident began when RAF radar operators at Lakenheath RAF station detected a group of unidentified objects, UFOs, flying over Suffolk. The objects were moving at high speed and were not responding to radar signals. The RAF scrambled a de Havilland Venom jet fighter to intercept the UFOs. The pilot of the Venom, Flight Lieutenant John Kilburn, reported seeing a bright white object on his radar. He also reported seeing the object visually, and he said that it was moving behind his aircraft when he attempted to intercept it. Kilburn was unable to catch up to the object, and it eventually disappeared from radar. The incident was investigated by the RAF and the USAF, but no explanation for the UFOs was ever found. The Lakenheath Bentwaters incident is one of the most well-documented UFO cases in history. There were multiple witnesses, including radar operators and a pilot, and the incident was widely reported in the media. The Travis Walton UFO incident is one of the most famous alien abduction cases in history. On November 5, 1975, Walton was working as a logger in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forests near Snowflake, Arizona, when he was struck by a beam of light and disappeared. His 5 co-workers saw the event and reported it to the police. Walton was missing for 5 days and 6 hours. When he reappeared, he claimed that he had been abducted by aliens and taken aboard their spacecraft. He described the aliens as being about 7 feet tall with large heads and almond-shaped eyes. He said that they conducted a series of tests on him, including taking blood samples and examining his body. Walton's story was met with skepticism by many people, but it also attracted the attention of the media. He wrote a book about his experience, titled The Walton Experience, which was published in 1978. The book was adapted into a film, Fire in the Sky, in 1993. In addition to the book and film, Walton's story has also been the subject of several documentaries. The most recent, Alien Abduction, Travis Walton, was released in 2022. The documentary features interviews with Walton and his family, as well as experts on UFOs and alien abduction. Japan Airlines Cargo Flight 1628 Incident. It is one of the most well-documented UFO sightings in history. On November 17, 1986, a Japanese Boeing 747-200F cargo aircraft was flying from Paris to Narita International Airport, in Japan. The flight crew, consisting of Captain Kenju Tarachi, co-pilot Takanori Tamefuji, and flight engineer Yoshio Tsukuda, reported seeing several unidentified objects over eastern Alaska. The objects were described as being rectangular in shape, with glowing nozzles or thrusters. They were also said to be moving very fast and changing direction suddenly. The flight crew followed the objects for several minutes, but they were unable to get a closer look. The objects were also seen on radar by the FAA and the Alaska Air National Guard. The FAA controller who was directing the JAL flight reported that the objects were as close as 5 miles to the jet. The Japan Airlines Cargo Flight 1628 incident is one of the most well-documented UFO sightings in history. Virginia UFO Incident. It is one of the most famous UFO cases in Brazil. The Virginia UFO incident refers to a series of events that took place in Virginia, Minas Gerais, Brazil, in January 1996. The events involved reported sightings of UFOs, creatures, and the Brazilian military. The most famous incident involved 3 young women who saw a large, egg-shaped object in a tree. The women described the object as being covered in hair and having large, almond-shaped eyes. They also said that the object seemed to be injured or sick. The Brazilian military was called to the scene, but the object was gone by the time they arrived. However, the military did collect samples of hair and tissue from the tree. There were other reported sightings of UFOs and creatures in Virginia during this time period. Some people also claim to have seen the Brazilian military capturing and transporting 1 or more creatures. Meng Jiaogua Incident. It is one of the most famous UFO cases in China. Meng Jiaogua was a 26-year-old lumberjack at the time of the incident. He claimed that he saw a white, shining object descend into Phoenix Mountain in Heilongjiang Province on June 7, 1994. He and a relative followed the object, but it disappeared into the forest. 2 days later, Meng was working on a nearby farm when he was incapacitated by an intense beam of light. When he woke up, he claimed that he had been taken aboard a spacecraft by aliens. He said that the aliens were about 10 feet tall and had large heads and almond-shaped eyes. He also said that they had taken him to Jupiter and shown him pictures of their homeworld. Meng's story was investigated by the UFO Enthusiasts Club at Wuhan University. They concluded that the initial contact may have occurred, but that the subsequent reported events were almost certainly untrue. However, other UFO groups in China concluded that his claims were true. The Meng Jiaogua incident remains one of the most controversial UFO cases in China. In the 21st century, reports of UFOs and UAPs have continued to increase, with numerous sightings submitted by military personnel, pilots, and civilians. The U.S. Navy has been involved in several notable UFO encounters and investigations. Here are a few key incidents. USS Nimitz UFO Incident, 2004. This incident involved encounters between U.S. Navy fighter pilots from the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier and unknown aerial objects off the coast of California. The pilots encountered a large, white, tic-tac-shaped object exhibiting extraordinary flight capabilities. The encounters were captured on video and have since been widely discussed and investigated. USS Theodore Roosevelt UFO Encounters, 2014 to 2015. During a deployment in the Persian Gulf, crew members aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt reported repeated encounters with unidentified aerial objects. These encounters involved the objects exhibiting advanced flight characteristics and capabilities that defied explanation. The incidents prompted further investigation by the U.S. Navy. USS Omaha UFO Incident, 2019. The USS Omaha, a U.S. Navy warship, reportedly encountered a spherical object that emerged from the water and flew briefly before disappearing. The incident was captured on multiple sensors, including radar and infrared systems. The footage was later released to the public. In 2022, the US government released a report on UAPs, acknowledging that there are a number of unexplained aerial phenomena that have been reported by military pilots and civilians. While the report did not conclusively identify the UAPs as alien spacecraft, it did acknowledge that they pose a potential threat to national security. The report also stated that the US government is stepping up efforts to study UAPs and develop better methods for tracking and identifying them. This is a significant development in the government's acknowledgement of the UFO phenomenon. The world of UFOs and aliens is a fascinating one, and there is more to it than we see. After a few years' time, alien life confirmation will also start to come from governments, just like UFOs. But we don't know how long it will take. So, keep looking up at the stars, and who knows? Maybe someday, we'll find the answers to the mysteries of the universe. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep believing. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on UFOs, aliens, and the unexplained.